What if I told you that one test could completely change the course of your future career? Not just any test, but one that can shape your path in the military and unlock a variety of opportunities. Welcome to the U.S. Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. My name is Dr. Steele. I'm a U.S. Army veteran and an ASVAB test prep expert. On this channel, I'll walk you through everything you need to know to pursue a career in the military. Think of me as your secret weapon. I'll give you expert tips, insider advice, and top-notch study materials to boost your confidence and your results. In today's video, I'm going to cover the top 5 most common questions about the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, or ASVAB. All right, let's do this. The ASVAB is a comprehensive test used by the U.S. military to assess the strengths, skills, and potential of future service members. Think of the ASVAB as both a career placement test and a skills assessment. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just assess one type of knowledge. We're talking about math, science, mechanical knowledge, electronics, and even verbal skills. And it's not just about passing. It's about determining which roles in the military are the best fit for you. Knowing the most frequently asked ASVAB questions and their answers can be a game changer. It helps you prepare strategically and avoid common pitfalls so you can focus on what really matters, achieving a score that opens the door for the best possible career options for you. Common question number 1. How is the ASVAB scored? The ASVAB scoring process can seem a bit complex, so understanding it can give you a serious edge. Let's go over it so you can break down your scores with confidence. The ASVAB isn't just one test. It's actually a combination of 9 or 10 subtests, depending on which format you choose to take. Each subtest measures specific areas, but your overall results boil down to 3 main types of scores: standard scores, an Armed Forces Qualification Test, or AFQT, and composite scores. Standard scores. These show you where you stand on specific subject areas. They help you identify your strengths and the areas where you need improvement. The AFQT score determines if you're even eligible to enlist in the military. And composite scores. These help figure out which military jobs you're best suited for. Let's break each one down. You will get a standard score for each subtest in the ASVAB. Each subtest focuses on a different subject area, like word knowledge, mathematics knowledge, or mechanical comprehension. You get a standard score for each one. These scores are based on a bell curve where 50 is the average score, and most people score between 30 and 70. Standard scores tell you how you performed compared to the other test takers. If your score is above 50, then you scored above average in that subtest. The ASVAB is unique because it doesn't just give you one score. The ASVAB score report gives you an AFQT score, which stands for Armed Forces Qualification Test. The AFQT is key because that's the score that determines your eligibility to join the military. The AFQT score is derived from 4 sections of the ASVAB: arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and mathematics knowledge. All the subtests are important, but your AFQT score is based on those 4. This is reported as a percentile score, so an AFQT score of 60 means that you scored better than 60% of standard test takers. Your AFQT score is your ticket to admission. It's that simple. Each branch of the military sets its own requirements for the AFQT, but if you score high enough here, you're good to go for enlistment. Finally, there's what we call line scores or composite scores. Composite scores group your standard scores in areas that have been identified as important to certain jobs or specialties. They help the military figure out which jobs you're best suited for. Each military job has a minimum composite score requirement in one or more areas. For example, high scores in electronics information and mathematics knowledge might be required for technical positions, and a clerical job in the Army may require higher scores in word knowledge, paragraph knowledge, arithmetic reasoning, and mathematics knowledge. Each military branch has its own system of composite scores. So you need to prepare strategically for doing well on the specific ASVAB subtests that will be important for whatever military position you are targeting. Common question number 2. What subtests are covered on the ASVAB? As I mentioned earlier, the ASVAB is made up of different subtests that measure your knowledge and skills in specific areas. These subtests are general science, arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, mathematics knowledge, electronics information, mechanical comprehension, assembling objects, auto information, and shop information. In the computerized version of the ASVAB, auto information and shop information are tested separately, but in the pencil and paper version, those two sections are combined into one. Remember, subtest scores make up your composite scores, so you should do your best on all of them because they can affect which jobs or roles you qualify for in the military. Common question number 3. What's a good ASVAB score? Well, that depends on which branch of the military you're interested in, because each branch sets its own minimum AFQT score requirement. Currently, the Army requires an AFQT score of at least 31. If you're looking to join the Navy, you'll need at least a score of 35. The Air Force's minimum requirement is 31 if you're a high school graduate or senior, and a minimum score of 50 for GED holders. The Marine Corps require at least 31, while enlisting in the Coast Guard requires a score of at least 36. A general rule of thumb is that scoring in the 50th percentile or above usually puts you in a good spot for more opportunities. You want as many career options as possible, so the bottom line is do your best on all the subtests. Common question number 4. Can I retake the ASVAB? The good news is you can retake the ASVAB if you don't get the score you were hoping for, but there are rules to take note of. You have to wait 1 month after your first test if you want a redo. If you need a third try, it's another month-long wait. After that, any additional attempts require a 6-month waiting period. So yes, you can retake the ASVAB, but each attempt has its own waiting period. And finally, question number 5, what's the best way to prepare for the ASVAB? Well, the first thing you need to do is decide on the career path you're aiming for. Mechanics, electronics, cyber intelligence. Each of those fields requires high scores on different ASVAB tests. So let's say you were interested in a technical field like electronics. Your preparation would need to include a focus on electronics information and mathematics knowledge. That leads me to my next tip. Understand the subtests. Earlier, I talked about how enlistment depends on your AFQT scores, which is based on 4 subtests. Before you take the ASVAB, you should have a pretty good idea of how you will do on each of those 4 subtests because your preparation should include a focus on them. But beyond the AFQT, you should also know which subtests are essential for your career path because they will be used in the composite score required for the job you're targeting. That information will be essential for prioritizing your study time. Now that you know the answers to the top 5 most asked questions about the ASVAB, what's the next step? You can start by contacting a recruiter or going to a military entrance processing station or MEPS to know more about your enlistment options. Also, if you're still undecided on a career path, you can check out resources like the ASVAB Career Exploration Program. They can help you identify options aligned with your strengths and interests through self-assessments and guided planning tools. Your career planning starts with a solid study plan to maximize your scores on the ASVAB. This is where Study.com comes in. Study.com has an ASVAB test prep course that covers every subtest in detail. This includes full-length practice tests that are just like the real exam. You can get comfortable with the format, timing, and questions so you can walk in feeling confident and ready. Plus, the bite-sized video lessons make it easy to zero in on exactly what you need. You can even filter your study topics based on the subtests most relevant to your military career goals. Study.com can also help you make the most of your study time with a personalized study plan made just for you. Study plans are based on your strengths and weaknesses, so you can focus your time on the areas where you need it most. That must be why Study.com proudly has a 92% pass rate for test takers who have used their prep courses, so don't forget to check them out. That wraps up the top 5 most common questions on the ASVAB, with details and some practical tips. Check out our other videos covering each ASVAB subtest and practice problems for each part of the test. Remember, know your goals and prep smartly. Give us a thumbs up if you're feeling more prepared. Leave us a comment with any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, and hit that subscribe button for more U.S. military test prep content. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.